Hello, fellow horror fiends, and welcome to The Horror Within Me, a podcast dedicated to the world of horror. Join us each week as our host explores a new, horrifying topic from the many realms of horror, such as film, television, and more, and returns to tell us his terrifying revelations. So sit back, relax, and get ready to face the horrors within.
Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Horror Within Me. I am your host, Eric, and it is another fun-filled, spooky Sunday with The Horror Within Me show. Last week, we talked about Stranger Things Season 5 fan theories, and it was a lot of fun. It was super engaging, and a lot of great feedback from listeners, so thank you guys for that. I love getting critiques and what you like and what you don't like, and we really try to apply that to future episodes. So keep the feedback coming, and I really am glad that you guys are enjoying it. This week we're going to be talking about another series on Netflix, but it's only a limited series, and it's Midnight Mass, 2021 Netflix series by director Mike Flanagan. Now, for those of you who probably think, oh, I've heard his name before, he's done many things. He's done Oculus in 2013, the movie Hush. He's helped Dr. Sleep, and also two things that you'll probably remember him for would be Netflix's Haunting of Hill House and Haunting of Bly Manor, which all of his work his wife does star in. And if you're guessing, you probably guessed correctly, Kate Siegel is his wife in real life, and it's very Rob Zombie-esque, where his wife stars in all his things, and this is no shade to Sherry Moon Zombie, but I'm a really big Kate Siegel fan, and so I don't mind seeing her in his work, in Flanagan's work. But, before we dive into what we're going to review about the show, I'll try to avoid as much spoilers as possible, but I would like to talk about a couple other things first as we prepare to go into the town of Crockett, or the island, I should say. For those of you who have seen this show, I'm curious to know if you actually think the same thing as I do, or if you have a different take on the show. But before we get into that, I wanted to introduce something new this week that I wanted to test out, which would be a kind of a fun thing. So I saw this I'm a huge trivia guy, right? So I love horror movies, but not just horror movies. I love all trivia. I'm a Jeopardy guy. I like watching Jeopardy. I like pop culture. I do very well in those categories. Fun fact about your host here, my husband proposed to me during a trivia night that I put together at our apartment at the time, and the category was 90s pop songs, and I was doing so well. But yes, so what I want to do is a small little, test out some trivia fun during this show. I think it'll be a cool addition. So I found this horror trivia game, and it's by Endless Games, and it's got 108 game cards. So if you have the game, you probably know the answers. But even if you're a huge horror person, some of these I don't even know. It's a little embarrassing. But I figured it would be a fun way to introduce it. Let's test out the waters. We'll throw a question in the beginning of the show, and then at the end of the show I'll give you the answer, and we'll see if you had it right. And then if you'd like, go on our social media, go on the Facebook page at The Horror Within Me, and tell me if you knew right away, or if you didn't know, if you've heard of the movie, if you haven't heard of the movie on the trivia, or if you enjoy trivia at all. I think it's super fun and lighthearted way to, enhance the show. It's always nice to have something, else involved inside of it. So without further ado, let's do our first ever trivia question in The Horror Within. Okay. This is the trivia question. What character is revealed to be the werewolf in the movie Silver Bullet? Again, that's what character is revealed to be the werewolf in the movie Silver Bullet. And like I said, I'll give the answer at the end of this episode. I've never heard or seen the movie Silver Bullet, so if anyone out there has seen the movie Silver Bullet, then you probably already know the answer right away. But now I think I might have to add these movies to the show just because. I mean, this is a horror show, right? Like, we have to know these movies. We have to enhance ourselves. We are an amazing community, and it's such a huge, long lasting. I mean, think about all the way back to Hitchcock, like Psycho and The Birds and all of those things, and even silent movies. There was horror. It's always been around, and there's so much. I feel like I've only got a little niche of what I've been exposed to, so I'm excited for all of this. Other news that I'm also thrilled to come to, and if anyone else, like I said, you probably already have heard this, but I just want to touch it anyway because it has to do with Halloween Ends. And a few days ago, Jamie Lee Curtis's official Twitter page, she tweeted, and I quote, it was just a emoji of a jack-o'-lantern, and the date, I believe it was July 21st. It was just 7/20. I'm sorry, 7/20, which is this coming Wednesday. So a few more days, and I think what we all think, if anyone is following, to wait for any little breadcrumb of the Halloween movie, Halloween Ends. We all are knowing that it's going to be the trailer for Halloween Ends, right? I'm thrilled, as everyone knows. Halloween is my franchise of choice in this genre. Michael Myers is my boogeyman. I love him above all. He is on he's on the Iron Throne in my book of horror. But I can't wait. I've done a lot of reading, especially with Comic-Con, and when they did the reveal trailer there, I've read a lot of Reddit posts and a lot of reporter posts on what the trailer was that they had saw. I would have loved to have gone to these things. I need to start finding the local conventions. There's one coming up in New Jersey, with the cast of Scream that is gonna be there, and I'm gonna try to get tickets to get in. Monster Mania, I think it's going to be in a hotel in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, and like I said, Nev Campbell gonna be there, and a couple other people, so that'll be super exciting. And just a great way to connect. So I'm going to try to get there. It's in August. I'm going to try to get the dates for you guys. Check it out on my, like I said, on our social media platforms, so I can, try to pinpoint exactly when and where you can get tickets, and any future things that we're going to be able to find in the communities, and not just New Jersey. If I find anything anywhere you guys, might be in the nation or even the world, London, wherever. So. We're going to try to do that because that'll be super fun too, to try to find ways to get out into the community and find other things. Or let me know what's going on. I always like to, I think that's the whole point of networking, is sharing information, is to build these communities to find everything out through each other. That's what we do, right? So, yes, the trailer apparently for Halloween Ends that was shown at Comic-Con or CinemaCon, I can't remember which one, was just a montage of previous films, so the Halloween 78, Halloween 2018, and Halloween Kills. And it does different, there's a monologue, I believe, of Laurie Strode, or saying like something. It all leads to this, and then it's an epic, quick scene of Laurie and Michael fighting in a kitchen, and it's apparently pretty brutal. I'm guessing this is the teaser. And we're going to be just getting the teaser that everyone else has gotten. I don't see a full trailer being dropped on Wednesday. I think it's going to be exactly what they gave. Maybe they tweaked it a little, maybe they haven't. Either way, I'm just excited. I want to see Michael. I heard his mask is the same in Kills, which I'm trying to figure out how they do this anyway, because it has a 4-year time jump, but there's a lot of theories, and this isn't the episode for it. We're going to have a future episode on the Halloween movies, probably in October, which is fitting because, again, my favorite horror movie, favorite holiday, all wrapped together. We're going to have fun plans for that, so stay tuned. Probably a little bit of a longer episode, but let's get into why we're here today, which is Midnight Mass, right? Okay, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that it wasn't a difficult show for me to get into, right? So let's do a little background on it, okay? So Midnight Mass, it's got a 7.7 out of 10 stars on IMDb and 86% on Rotten Tomatoes. And what we're going to do at the end of the show is every week, every new show, every episode, whatever content that we're rating, movie, television show, whatever it may be, I'm going to give it my own unique rating. So instead of stars, it'll be something different. So, for example, for Stranger Things last week for season 5, and the theories and the rating for season 4 of Stranger Things, I would give it 10 out of 10 Vecna clocks, you know? Or for when we did previous past episodes, the movie Old, we would give it a 8 out of 10 years. So it'll just be a kind of fun way to have a nice spin on the rating system and have our own unique rating system. I think it's fun. It's going to be a lot of fun to think of different objects that pertain to or themes that pertain to each movie or content. So anyway, that was the ratings on IMDb, and the description is: the arrival of a charismatic priest brings miracles, mysteries, and renewed religious fever to a dying town. Okay. Now, it stars, again, Kate Siegel as Aaron Green, Zach Gilford, and Hamish, I can't say it properly, Linklater as Father Paul. There's a lot of other people in this movie as well, or this show. And so, as I was saying, just boggles my brain. It's a very slow start. I did a snippet TikTok on it after I was finished, like a quick little thing, and the best way for me to describe it is, it's worth the watch. There's 7 episodes, only 7 episodes, but it's not until the end of 3 or 4 episode that it really got me. I don't know if it was the week that I had started it or if it was a mixture of things, but I was tired. I don't know. I would come home and I'm like, I'm going to start Midnight Mass. And I started the show months ago. And I'm telling you, like, months. And I'm saying there's only 7 episodes. They're not super long episodes. I think they're an hour. And I watched the first one. I think I fell asleep on it months ago. And then I finally finished it. And then I didn't pick it back up. I just didn't pick it back up. So then I came back into it a couple weeks ago and started it again. And again, I fell asleep a couple times. But I don't want to. I want to stress the fact that it wasn't just about the pace of this show that I was falling asleep. I think I was just very tired in life. But it is slow, and that's what I kind of like about Flanagan's work and who he collaborates with and everyone else is it's very elevated, and there's a lot of thought into the character development. There's a lot of thought into the atmosphere, and they really like immerse you in this feeling of everything. I mean, it's told in a way that you have to pay attention or you're gonna miss something. If it's not a show that you're going to have on in the background while you're casually doing other things. You have to put yourself in a room that's dark, and you have to be ready to also be on Crockett Island. Okay? So, let's talk about the town. The town of Crockett, it can best be described in my best words as a forgotten place. You know, like, you think of those towns, it's very decrepit and doesn't look like there's a lot of upkeep, and like doesn't seem like there's much to do for the local children, which there doesn't seem to be many, and most people that are there have been there since birth, and it seems to be rare if they leave, you know. There were 2 people that had left, 2 characters, and you know, this isn't a spoiler, but this is what we find ourselves coming in, and we meet Riley Finn, who is Flynn. I'm sorry, Riley Flynn, who is played by Zach Gilford, and he had left, and he ended up being an alcoholic, and like I said, this isn't too much of a spoiler of the show, but he ended up going to jail for I believe 4 years because he killed someone in a DUI, and then the other girl, Kate Siegel, Aaron Green, had come back. home to be the town teacher after she found out she was pregnant and she escaped an abusive relationship. And they seem to have been the troubled kids of their time in the town and who have returned, and they seem like the locals are gossiping and about because we have Bev Keane, who is the main person of the Christian church or the Catholic Church, which is also kind of fun. Is that the whole show obviously is religion based, and each episode is titled after one of the books in the Bible. So I'm not very religious. I was raised Catholic to a small extent. I mean, a very small extent. I mean, I was under a teenager when I was going to church, and I only made my communion, but I knew some things of the Bible, but I can't quote or remember anything of it now, neither here nor there. And I don't knock anyone who believes in religion or who, whatever you believe in, I think it's good for you. Just don't push your stuff onto everyone in the whole world. And that's what this is kind of like. This entire town is, there's only thing to do is like Sunday Mass, and they like worship this old priest who went away on a trip. And a new priest comes, Father Paul comes, and things start happening. And I don't want to talk about what it is, and it's not, and it isn't something that you would expect. It's small little quote unquote miracles around the town that start getting people, more and more people, to start showing up to Sunday Mass. Maybe the people that were losing their faith. And when I mean, like, I want you to really dive into what town of Crockett is. Like like I said, it's very decrepit, but to the point where there's one doctor on the entire island, and it's not a hospital. It's like a doctor that comes to your house, or you can go to her house. Like she lives. She doesn't have a real office, and any real medical care that you require, you must catch a ferry that comes, I think, once a day to take you back and forth to the mainland, which I'm not sure if it was ever said. I might have missed it. I don't know where they're actually located at or what the mainland is, but yeah, that's, you're very secluded. It's very cut off. Like, everyone just doesn't know who you are. Nobody really thinks of anyone on Crockett. I guess everything comes in and out of the ferries. And even this sheriff, who interestingly is a Muslim man, and why it's interesting is because the whole town is all pretty much all white people, Christian white people, and then you have a Muslim sheriff, and his son. And there's a point where he does make a comment that he doesn't even carry a gun because the only issue in the town is the town drunk, who will maybe have a little too much sometimes and cause a little bit of a ruckus. And so he locks him up for a place to sleep at night. And then when he gets up, he lets him go, and there's nothing really else to do. He's just like a bona fide babysitter of the town alcoholic. And it's just, it really, the best way to continue to think of midnight mass is you have to have the I mean, I cannot stress enough, you have to really put yourself into this town. Things that are happening around the town, you are going to be agitated, especially if you're non-religious. It's going to agitate you because of the underlying tones of the cult kind of feeling that people associate with religion and the devoutness of it. And it's really hard to not judge everyone in the town because they'll say and do things that might really get under your skin, especially the character of Bev Keane. I mean, that actress that played her, let me look at for a second. Her name is Samantha Sloyan or something. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong, but she was also in Grey's Anatomy, and I don't know if there's any Grey's Anatomy fans out there, but she was in Grey's Anatomy as the one of the doctors that were there with Derek. Spoiler alert: when Derek Shepard died and Meredith went off on her, she ended up leaving. I think she was dating Arizona or Cali. I honestly don't remember which one it was. I think it was Cali. Yes. But anyway, she's in it, so she has a really phenomenal way to make people hate her. So she's like the town kiss ass. She's the one that, she's above and beyond, and she serves her God and nothing else matters. And she's got people in the palm of her hand. She's almost like an evil queen, if that makes sense. And it's an interesting character to have because I wonder how she was received Because I mean, I wonder, like, the show is well made. It's very well made. So I think for me, like I said, the problem was I didn't anticipate the kind of story that I was getting into and the type of slow burn that it would be. But let me just tell you, listeners, let me tell you, friends, it is wild. It is a wild fucking ride. I don't even, like, I have to curse when I say, what the fuck? Like, there's, like, I did not, I pride myself at being able to figure things out in movies and shows. You know what I mean? Like, you want to, like, jump and say, I know how this is going to happen. I could not, for the life of me, figure this out. I didn't know exactly what it was that was happening. There was a one thing after another that I was like, oh, oh, oh. But I mean, it all makes sense in the end. But what an end. The last few episodes, whoa, my God. If anything, for those first few, you need those first few to really set the tone. Because you know when you're on a roller coaster and you're going up and it's so slow and you have time to sit and really look at everything around you. You look to your left and you look to your right and you see the other parts of the theme park and you're getting up high and you might see your family down here or where you parked in the parking lot. Like you have so much time to reflect. And then you get to the top and there's a moment of stillness, right? It's just very still. And that point, the thing that happens next is going to be the thing that you've waited for in line for the next, for however many minutes or even an hour or so is what you've been waiting for. That is the first few episodes of Midnight Mass. You're going up that roller coaster, but let me tell you, when that coaster drops, and it starts taking you on the loops, the turns, and all the other things in between, it is just as satisfying. It is just as thrilling. It is amazing. And the visuals, the acting, the story, everything is just beautifully terrifying and grotesque, and it's just amazing. I would watch it again. I probably will watch it again just because it's one of those things that I didn't appreciate fully the first time going into it because it was slow, that I want to go back and revisit it just to start maybe looking for Easter eggs that I might have missed as being kind of an asshole and not paying attention to because wow. And it left me wanting more. It started me with what a beginning. Like, I don't know if I'm going to get through 7 of these episodes too, where I wish there was a few more episodes of this. I want to know more about the town of Crockett or how it left off. And let me tell you, it's left off with, it's a limited series, so it's only one season, and it has an entire beginning and it has a definitive end. The story is fully told, and there may be one small thing that leaves that window that we all kind of hope for a possible new storyline. I'll put it that way. It does leave that, so that's exciting. But well, no matter what they do with it, it's not gonna be this. And I've met people that either love it or won't watch it because I tell them that it's a slow burn and it puts them off. So don't let that put you off. But I'm going to since it's such a heavily religious show, my rating system is going to be crucifixes. And for me personally, I give Midnight Mass 9 out of 10 crucifixes, okay? And the reason I didn't give it 10 out of 10 is that I feel like the advertisements could have been better and I could have known more about it, and that's just my personal preference. I just didn't feel like it was really pushed enough because I didn't hear about it. But other than that, 9 out of 10 crucifixes. Hang them on your walls, buddies, because for this show you're gonna need it. It's a great Netflix show. Another beautifully directed movie or television series by Mike Flanagan. Another phenomenal performance from his wife, Kate Siegel. I just love her, and I didn't even realize that she was in Hush, which is another directed by Mike Flanagan, and a movie where I think she lives in like a secluded cabin kind of house in the woods, and she's deaf. That was an awesome movie too, which I'll probably go back and watch now because I'm such a fan of her to rewatch and appreciate and do for a future episode. Which, by the way, we have so many fun future episodes coming up. Next week, we're going to be talking about the movie Midsummer, which get ready for that one because that's another movie that I didn't even know was going to be 2.5 hours long, and it's a lot to unpack there. So if you've seen that, great. You know it's going to be an interesting episode. If you haven't seen it, you got a week before I record and we do that episode. But I don't know. I want to know what you thought of Midnight Mass. I loved it. I highly suggest anyone that's a fan of Mike Flanagan or a horror fan of any kind. It's not your fast-paced horror story, but it is, I feel, a great original piece, if I could say that, and I just really loved it. So that's my review of Midnight Mass. We're going to go back to the trivia question that I promised you all at the end, and we're going to give you the answer. Again, the question was, what character is revealed to be the werewolf in the movie Silver Bullet? And I'm curious if anyone got it, but the answer is the priest. So I thought that was a fun first trivia question to kind of coincide with Midnight Mass, and I'm not saying it's an Easter egg. I'm not saying it isn't. I'm just gonna say religious show that we're talking about, and religious trivia question. Take it however you want. You know what I mean? You say what you want. But yeah, I want to know if you have seen Silver Bullet and if you got the answer to the trivia question, and if you like trivia, and if we should continue doing it for future episodes. But other than that, that seems to be all the time we have for today's show. I loved spending this last 30 minutes with you all and going into the town of Crockett. It was a lot of fun. I hope you guys had a lot of fun. For more Horror Within Me content, you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok at The Horror Within Me. And, you know, Facebook is really the best place if you want to leave any information or you want to talk about maybe movies I should review and movies I have, you know, new movies coming out. That'd be fun. Also check out my social medias for, you know, like I said, future things that we'll be doing. And also go to my website, www.thehorrorwithinme.com, to listen to all new and past episodes so that you can get the podcast directly from there. And if you wouldn't be so kind to leave a review and comments under the episodes, that would be greatly appreciated. It is super helpful for feedback. It helps me create better future shows for all of you. And other than that, that's all the time. Thank you again for joining me on this spooky Sunday. And until next time, horror fiends, stay spooky.